Never try anything you see on the show at home.
Well, there's your problem.
In this special series of MythBusters,
Almost too exciting.
the Dream Team tackles their dream themes.
It's scientific!
Testing myths about everything from electricity to pressure and gravity.
This one hurt a bit.
Shaking down the science of shockwaves, velocity, and impact. With crazy chemistry,
Oh my goodness.
far-out physics,
Fun for the whole family.
and insane explosions.
Is everybody okay?
Life's burning questions answered. On MythBusters, there's your problem. In this episode, animal behavior myths are put to the test with crocs, cats, and goats under the microscope. And the MythBusters under pressure. Then it's time for a whirlwind tour of extreme natural events. To test their power to shake,
This is terrifying!
spin, and blow.
I love this job.
Get set for nature at its gnarliest.
All right, you guys, get ready for this one. Crocodile myth.
Is it the crocodiles have tears?
No. This one is, if you're getting chased by a crocodile, you can easily escape it by running in a zigzag pattern, because they cannot turn corners.
Crocodiles attack with a lightning-fast lunge, but are they biologically challenged when it comes to turning corners?
How do you think we should test it?
Let's use Buster first. We'll build a rig that pulls him in a straight line, and then one that pulls him in a zigzag.
Well, let's try to make this a little interesting instead of just sticking a stake to Buster's butt. Maybe we can make a pair of meat legs.
How do you make meat legs?
Don't ask me.
Juicy meat leg bait, you say? Carrie has a perfectly absurd MythBuster solution.
What are these?
They're fishnet stockings.
And they'll be stuffed with quail?
They're not even gutted.
Put these down, go back to working whatever you're working on, because I have a really busy day of putting dead birds in sexy lingerie.
Now, there's a sentence you don't hear every day. Meanwhile, Tori's on track to rig the croc track and trolley.
This is gonna be our track that's gonna go over the crocodiles, and the trolley will carry the dummy along that run, and the crocodile will have something to chase.
Grant, the electronics guru, focuses on the remote control pulley.
Motor here, the sprocket. As the sprocket turns, it moves the chain back and forth.
Now, to dial in and calibrate the rig to an average human speed.
No, the crocodile!
One by one, the guys run a series of zigzags across the grid. And using an overhead slow-mo camera, the average is distinctly average.
7.6 feet per second.
That's 5 miles per hour and half the speed crocs have been clocked at. So unless the zigzag myth proves to be true, our cross-dressing dummy is likely to be devoured.
That's great!
I'm happy with it.
It's time to crock and roll. But where?
The only place we're gonna be able to get crocodiles to chase us is gonna be in Florida.
Field trip!
We are now here in Florida at St. Augustine Alligator Farm, and they're crazy enough to let us try our Buster rig on some of these alligators and crocodiles. What does it mean when they hiss?
When they hiss, they feel a little threatened because you're getting a little bit too close to them, so they're kind of unhappy with your presence right now.
They're unhappy.
With that less than comforting knowledge left hanging, the rig is assembled. Fishnet-clad meat legs and all.
These are very dangerous animals, so it's important that you're listening to the keepers. They'll tell you where to be. If something goes wrong, they're gonna tell you to get somewhere quickly.
I've been watching a lot of professional wrestling on television, so I've learned some wrestling moves, and I'm gonna try them out on this crocodile.
The Cuban crocodile is one of the quickest and most aggressive crocodiles on the planet.
We'll get the animal secured, hold the mouth shut, and then you'll actually tape the jaw shut so it's no longer able to bite us.
What?
You're gonna tape the mouth shut.
That's what he thought you said.
Wow.
Okay.
He's gonna submit in 2 seconds. Tap out. Tap out, sucker.
So is that better than playing with robots?
Oh my gosh. This is my new favorite job. How do I sign up?
I think you just did.
Okay, here we go. Can the Cuban croc catch those zigzagging quail legs? Using the remote control, Grant twitches Buster's delicious legs. Our reptile doesn't seem tempted, although its potential speed is obvious when it suddenly rounds on its keepers.
Whoa.
They keep trying to tease the croc into a chase, but the beast just won't budge.
No interest whatsoever.
I'm starting to feel extremely defeated. There's a run in my stockings, and there's no crocodile running.
Cue Plan B.
We're actually going to take a quail and put it on my robot here. And this is a battle-ready combat robot. So if an animal gets a hold of it in its jaws, it is built for combat, so it probably will stand up.
With its cargo of quail in place, Grant's robot sets out on its mission. Looking like the Mars rover, it parks near the edge of the pool, well within striking distance. Grant's poised to hit the accelerator at the first crocodilian quiver. But apparently, this croc doesn't feel like Meals on Wheels.
We're having a hard time getting this crocodile to come to the surface of the water, so I'm gonna try to entice it with some quail, and I'm just gonna drop it right in front of his nose, or her nose.
Tori ventures close and throws the bird. Nothing. Not a ripple.
I don't think he's coming out the water.
No response to the rig, no response to the robot. You can't say the MythBusters aren't trying. There's only one thing left. Plan C. That's C for crazy. Tori's going to put his behind on the line and get a croc to chase him instead.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually suit up with some protective gear, get in there, try to agitate the crocodiles, and see if they'll chase me.
Tori's going out on a limb. Let's just hope all his are still there when it's over.
So let's say one of them does get a hold of my leg. What will you do to
I will
break that hold?
I will do everything I can to ease your pain as quickly as possible.
He has a stick.
And this is actually more for
knock me
you.
out with the
Yes,
stick.
exactly.
Tori's legs will be well protected. Unfortunately, the heavy padding will also slow him down.
Protective gears hindering me from running away from the crocodile.
Nevertheless, he's ready for a face-to-face croc confrontation. The Johnston's crocodile is found in Australian waters. It's smaller than the Cuban croc, but fast and fiercely territorial.
What do you think's going to happen?
I think you can catch him.
If he can provoke a chase, Tori needs to remember to zigzag. The crocodile lunges, but doesn't continue the chase beyond that initial strike.
Hissing and like lunging, my heart was going 1,000 miles a minute. You're more worried about getting away from that initial explosive attack. If you can get away from that, you're pretty much gonna be okay.
Even so, the team wants to try one more experiment, swapping crocs for alligators. Carrie plays gator baiter, trying to lure her living dinosaur in a zigzag.
Oh, yes, you're just freaking me out now, Smiley. Yay, yeah, this way. All right.
I don't know if she's more afraid of the alligator or the bird.
The alligator slowly changes direction to follow Carrie. But is that a zigzag as defined by the myth?
I did a zig, I did a zag. He could follow me, but only sort of in a curvy motion, not really sharp turns, and it didn't make me get away from him any better.
Let's face it, this myth is looking more and more like a croc.
Man, we threw everything at this one, including ourselves. I don't know what more we could have done.
We were in the right place at the right time of year on a hot day with cranky crocodiles and their food of choice, and they still wouldn't chase.
Well, doesn't that in itself prove something? Forget the zigzag. Crocodiles are just not gonna chase you on land.
Yeah, they're ambush predators. If they miss you that first time, they're just gonna wait until some easier prey comes along.
And so this whole zigzag theory is just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and what's more, it's busted.
Busted.
Totally busted.
Next up, Adam and Jamie let the cat out of the bag with a feline fable.
Over the years on this show, we have done many, many things formerly considered to be completely impossible. So we're about to do herding cats.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Okay.
Felis catus are famously aloof, independent individuals. So much so, the phrase herding cats is synonymous with impossible. But does the phrase match reality, or can you in fact rustle up a flock of felines?
Our task here is pretty straightforward. We have a pen that's 35 by 45 feet, and we're going to fill it with 8 cats. Our job is to move those cats from the big pen
Into the little pen, or as we're fond of calling it, the cat corral.
And thanks to the Animal Friends Rescue Project, they've got 8 curious kitties to round up.
Okay, now it's safe to unleash the beasts.
With the cats contained, Adam is first up to attempt to round them up by using his powers of persuasion.
Good luck, buddy.
Okay. You want to go this way? Straight away, these cats will not flock together. I guess because it's not natural behavior for them. Come on. So that means I'm trying to cajole them into the pen one by one.
Hey, Red, let's go over to the pen. What do you say? Let's take a walk over there, see what's going on. This looks like it could be cool. Maybe this is an exit. No.
Wait, no. Even this one-on-one technique, which obviously you can't call herding, isn't working at all. I cannot get these cats to go anywhere that I want them to go.
He's like amateur.
The cat's instinctive response to Adam is to ignore him. So he tries something a little more hands-on.
All right, I'm just gonna put him in the pen, see if I can get them all in. I know this is cheating, but it's all I got.
But as the number of cats in the pen grows, so does the caterwauling.
Oh, that was a bad idea of mine. I'm very sorry.
It looks like Adam is about to close the gate on 8 cats.
It's happening.
Oh, defeat snatched from the jaws of victory.
I give up. I got 7. I'm going with that as my score. It's your turn.
Cats are just not social animals. So Jamie's going to appeal to their fear response instead.
Right. So I can see this cat's afraid of me.
That's it. Go on. Go on. Go on.
So I'm gonna gently intimidate it to get it to go where I want. Yay!
Jamie, nice.
One cat. I got to do it exactly what I wanted. But although the cats are going into the corral of their own free will,
Go on. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. That's it.
it's a tactic that only works one cat at a time. So I'm not so sure this counts as herding.
You're killing it.
3. It's actually sort of working.
Jamie's one-on-one approach has gotten 5 cats into the corral, but he's hit a snag.
Go on. Go. He's moving you back more than you're moving him forward.
There are still 3 cats to go,
Go. Go. Go.
and none of them are afraid of him.
I don't think you're gonna get him to move, Jamie.
Okay, well, I got 5 in the pen. I got 3 that just wouldn't play ball.
That is very respectable. Nicely done.
Well, Jamie's technique worked far better than mine. By stamping his feet and clapping his hands, he was able to control 5 of these felines into the pen, but that still gives him a 36% failure rate. So now, in order to proceed, we're going to reduce the number of cats we have to herd to the smallest number we can still call several cats, and that is 3 cats. We are also going to enlist the aid of some kitty interest aids, colloquially known as cat toys, to help us.
Being social may not be in a cat's makeup, but being a predator is. So the toys will appeal to their hunting instinct. So with a buffet of cat tempters, Adam selected a famous feline lure, but he's adding an irresistible twist.
On today's cooking show, we're going to be infusing a feather-tailed mouse with catnip and attempting to lure some cats to a corral with it. I start with a simple zip closure bag and add a little bit of catnip. This stuff is like catnip to the cats. Hopefully that's going to be one desirable mouse.
Hopefully, but will this trio of mischievous moggies take the bait and end up behind the gate?
Time to go catfishing.
Adam casts his line and waits for a bite.
I've got some interest.
Defying expectations, Adam's catfishing looks promising.
Yes, 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 yes.
Well, you got two cats at once moving their way towards the trap.
Totes.
But they quickly lose interest. And, adding insult to injury,
Oh. He broke my fishing line. And he never even stood up.
cue the cat kryptonite.
Lasers. Oh, yes, okay.
No cat can resist chasing a laser, right?
No.
Nope. Cats never miss an opportunity to be contrary. None of them are guided by the light.
They can clearly see the lasers. They notice them. They just don't seem to care.
All of the tricks that I have employed have not worked at all. I am not hurting cats.
Adam's defeated, so Jamie's contenders enter the ring.
Adam tried to attract the cats. That didn't work. So I'm going to try to repel them.
Jamie's plan B utilizes the cat's startle reflex.
That's it.
That's it. You've got them into one corner. That's pretty good.
The Heineman ups the ante with umbrellas and a maraca maringa. And for a moment, he's tantalizingly close to maneuvering the moggies.
We're onto something. Okay, you're home free. Sort of. That's it.
But nope. These cats are doing what cats do, not cooperating with a nonchalant air of disdain.
It seems to me that it's virtually impossible to get these cats to behave in any kind of grouping at all. It really is true to the saying.
With defeat looming, it's time to bring in the professional.
Hey, Lance, how's it going? How would you feel about hurting some cats? I was wondering what technique you were planning on using. Perfect idea. Let's go.
Yep, this myth is going to the dogs. And if it can't herd 8 cats into the corral, nothing can.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Immediately, it's clear these cats are standing their ground.
Arched backs. Oh, all the backs are arched here.
Yep, they switch from defense to offense. Their body language, a less than subtle reminder they know who's the boss in this age-old feud. Despite following its handler's commands, the dog steers well clear of the hissing balls of fury.
He's like, I'm really not sure about this, boss.
This is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen.
After 6 minutes of feline resistance, it's clear not even a sheepdog can herd cats.
Get out, lie down, calm down.
Yep, it was a catastrophe for the dog.
So what do you think was going on there?
I think he was out of his game, and he's not used to animals that don't come together, and he wouldn't face off something like that normally.
He's not used to dealing with predators in that sort of situation, and they all know the relationship, I guess.
Right.
I think they thought he was lunch.
Oh.
Good job, buddy. Good job, buddy.
Hey, Lance, how did that go for you? I totally know what you mean, buddy. You did a great job regardless. Good boy. That was rough.
There's only one way to call this myth. Confirmed. In the next story, we'll investigate goats that supposedly have a peculiar habit.
Now, apparently they're fainting goats, but have you ever heard of any animal besides a human fainting?
No, and in fact, some of our fans think that this is just a hoax.
Well, you know, there's only one way to find out.
All right, let's go see for ourselves.
All right, we're at Renegade Ranch to see these fainting goats. I mean, I haven't seen one fall over yet.
Do goats actually faint?
Well, they do and they don't. They appear to faint, but they don't actually lose consciousness when they fall on the ground. It's a muscle condition called myotonia that affects their leg muscles. So when they get scared, sometimes even excited, their muscles are tightened up in their legs, and sometimes they'll actually fall over.
Really? She made it sound very science-y and plausible. But there's always a chance she's part of the elaborate hoax. After all, we still haven't seen any of them faint.
Apparently, shepherds breed these goats just for that gene, so that way they can put one of these goats into their flock of sheep, so when a real predator shows up, all the sheep take off, and the goat is stuck there, paralyzed, so that the predator can eat it and not the sheep. Now, if that's not taking one for the team, I don't know what is. The sad thing is, it's not even his team. I mean, it's the sheep, you know?
All right, Tori, your first step. What do you want to do?
I think for my first one, I'm just gonna see if I can get one of these goats to faint with no tricks. I mean, I haven't seen one of these fainted yet. Oh, you...
I felt that. Not the best start. 1 human faint versus 0 for the goats. Carrie has heard scaring goats is the best way to elicit the fainting.
Okay, I figured something would be very freaky with a lot of flash would be an umbrella. So I'm gonna try to crouch down, wait till they're calm, and then pow.
But it's not working.
They're laughing at us, Carrie. They mock us.
I don't think this is as easy as I thought it was gonna be.
Every failure to faint casts more doubt on the myth. But Tori needs to prove that he's smarter than the average goat.
Thinking maybe I'm gonna lay down in that trough right there, cover me in hay, let them come up to the hay, eat for a little bit, and then I'll spring out.
All right, Tori, go now.
Not one?
Not one.
You kidding me?
Dude, that would scare the heck out of me. I can't tell you how frustrating this is. I mean, they're called fainting goats. We can't make a fainting goat faint. Seriously.
Then, out of the blue, goats really do start fainting. But not because of Carrie or Tori.
You know what's frustrating me the most? Everybody seems to be able to get these goats to fall except Carrie and me. Camera guy walks by a goat, it falls over. The runner, he's making goats fall over. The farmer walks by and they're falling over.
The myth seems to be heading in the confirmed direction. But Tori is sticking to the basic principle of experimental procedure and doing due diligence. They won't call it until they record a fainting goat on their watch. Cue Operation Shock and Awe.
I think maybe we need to blend.
Should we use our secret weapon? Camouflage?
Camouflage.
Yeah. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna drop them with this one.
Looking like rejects from a Wizard of Oz revival, Tori and Carrie stalk their prey.
I don't know about the goats, but I think the cow's getting kind of excited.
I'm one of you guys. What's going on, fellas? Ready, Carrie? Let's go! Got him. Totally worked.
Yeah, we got a few.
I got one over there.
Fainting is a misnomer because the goats don't lose consciousness. Due to a genetic condition, their muscles tighten when they get scared. Incredibly, the Tennessee fainting goat can in fact be scared stiff.
I am so convinced that this works. It actually doesn't take that much. You just have to know what you're doing, which we obviously don't most of the time. This myth is absolutely confirmed. These goats faint.
Producers of MythBusters wish to say that no goats were hurt during filming, though several felt they were made to look stupid. Authorized and spoken by Robert Lee. With the creatures exiting stage left, it's time for 3 myths about the forces of nature. First, the boys are in a spin about whirlpools. It's a story that's been going on as long as humans have been going to sea. The mythical evil vortex that appears in the ocean. Sucking in boats and sailors. Could that actually happen? And right on cue.
One right there.
Not just one, but a virtual convoy of vortices. All brought about by the bridge pylon. Most oceanic whirlpools form when opposing currents meet head-on. As the currents start to swirl around each other, a vortex forms in the center, causing the water to spiral downwards. In some cases, the vortex can plunge hundreds of feet.
Well, I've got no hands on this thing, and it's moving us back and forth. That is a lot of power.
You know, these whirlpools may not do anything but make it a little squirrely to steer this boat, but if I was in the water with one of them, I think I'd be in a little bit of trouble.
The question is, how much trouble? Back at the shop, the MythBusters go head-to-head. Adam will try to make a pump-powered whirlpool, while Jamie will work on a paddle to churn the water. Adam has a small pool pump and a tank with a hole at the bottom. When the pump is switched on, water is sucked down the hole, through the pump, and recirculated. The result? A perfect conical vortex.
Oh, look at that. That would be a vortex. Here's a little boat, unsuspecting on the high seas, and... oh, no, it's a whirlpool. That would be bad.
So the pump works well. Now it's Jamie's turn. He's got 2 metal paddles attached to a cordless drill motor.
330 RPM. The depth of the vortex is 9 inches. All right, let's move up to the medium-sized level. I want to kick it up a notch.
Kicking it up a notch means a larger tank, a larger pump, and a bigger whirlpool. But Adam's made an intriguing discovery. It takes proportionally less water to maintain his larger whirlpool.
It requires less of the total volume to maintain that whirlpool, which is fantastic.
On the other hand, Jamie's paddles are using more power and threatening to take off.
Having trouble holding on to it. I'm really using a lot of strength.
There's no beautifully shaped vortex, just a violent churning.
And between the two, I'd much rather get into the one that I made with the pump than get into a tank with that thing.
Famous last words, Adam. Because there's no turning back now. The full-scale custom-built tank has arrived.
This is our tank. It's 9,200 gallons. It's 10 feet wide and 16 feet tall, and it was specially made just for us.
The tank is set up to utilize Adam's pump whirlpool system. One anaconda-like hose will carry water away from the tank. A second will put it back in the top. And once the water is in, it's time to fire up the pump and give it a whirl.
Ho, ho, ho! Yeah!
I guess we judged it right.
Oh, that is so... oh, man!
In fact, it's working too well. Nature's fastest vortex moves at 14 knots, about 42 revolutions a minute, which looks something like this. But they've built a miniature container ship as their test boat, which means they need to dramatically scale down the size and speed of the whirlpool to match.
That's 1 revolution every 10 minutes.
And that means the water is practically not moving at all. So, after all that, their scale experiment simply won't work.
So I think we look at this as a damage experiment. We see where the ship starts sustaining actual danger and damage of sinking, and then we calculate what the speed is and see how that compares to real-world whirlpools. All right, this is our 1/500th scale container ship. It's actually 1,000 feet long in real life, like the ones behind me.
Imagine this is the ocean. If this ship was real, it'd be traveling at 230 miles per hour. And even then, it's not in any danger of being sucked down.
So in terms of scale of a naturally occurring whirlpool, that's busted. That's going 20 times faster than the fastest whirlpool ever recorded.
So it's like over 200 knots or something, right?
Yeah, it's way off the charts.
So now we have to find out what it would take.
The pump roars to life, and soon a vortex of supernatural strength opens up.
Oh, it's down to Davy Jones' locker, isn't it?
All right.
That's about like, you know, Mach 3 or something, is it? What do you say?
That whirlpool was like a half mile in diameter.
The whirlpool boat myth has sunk without a trace. and it's time for a full-scale human test.
Is everybody ready for diving?
As excited as he is, Adam won't just dive into the tank. He'll hang onto a trapeze, which Jamie can raise or lower. Even so, it's risky. If he loses his grip and gets swallowed, the air supply will give him just a handful of breaths.
All right, I'm going in.
All right, be careful.
The pump begins to turn the water at 14 knots, as fast as the world's fastest whirlpool.
Starting to form, Adam.
Ah, that's cool!
The vortex gathers strength. Adam starts to feel suction pulling him down.
Whoa! Oh, wow, I can totally feel it in my feet. That is cool! Woo! Whoa!
The pump is cut before Adam loses his grip. Adam's body slowly stops spinning, not his head.
Are you okay?
Have you ever really looked at the sky?
For my money, that was about as good as it gets in terms of a whirlpool.
Well, I would agree, actually. And I would say that if I hadn't been tethered, I would definitely have been sucked down by that. But, so I would say that we could conclude a naturally occurring whirlpool could be lethal to a swimmer, but not a boat.
Next, a myth that's shaken, not stirred. In order to survive the big one, is it best to stand in a door jamb?
All right, you guys ready for an earthquake? Oh my God! Look at the lamp!
To test the myth, the team needs to make a shakeable house just like this one at the California Academy of Science. Back at the workshop, Grant gets to work on a miniature Shake Shack.
So our earthquake shake table concept model is complete. Now what this is a load-bearing platform supported by casters. It's got actuators in the X and Y direction to shake it. What we're interested in is what happens to the house after it's been collapsed when subjected to earthquake magnitude forces. Kind of like this. Whew. I'd call that about a 10.
There's no doubt their shrimp shaker is the business, but now it's time to build the beast. And that means a ton of heavy lifting ahead.
Looking good, looking good.
The frame for the platform is made of square steel tubes with half-inch thick walls.
I think we're good. This stuff is strong. It has to be strong because once we start building buildings on top of it and shaking them down, this thing has to withstand thousands of pounds of force.
It's clear their steel is the real deal. Now for the shake system.
For that, we're building 8 monuments. These are pneumatic springs or air springs. Usually they're used in semi-truck trailer beds so that it can balance loads or provide some extra spring. For us, they're going to be on the edges of our shake table, and they're going to provide 10,000 pounds of force each. With 8 of them, that's 80,000 pounds. That ought to shake things up.
And the guys have one more trick up their sleeve.
These are the air casters. This is the most exciting part. These are gonna allow our shake table to not only move side to side, forwards and backwards, but also up and down.
Once the air hoses are connected, the stage is set for a shakedown.
Now behind me is a fleet of air compressors. Now it's important that we have a lot of air for this table to work, and I'll show you why. Now, compressed air will be moving through these hoses into this manifold where it will be distributed to 6 separate air casters. Now, once those air casters inflate, the whole table will lift up and it will actually ride on a cushion of air.
Our second source of air is going to come through these hoses, through these pipes, and to these air bladders. They're going to control the shaking so the table stops a-quaking.
Now, all the valves that control the air bladders are going to this bank of relays, is going to this microcontroller and this computer. We can control each of those valves separately so that we can get exactly the magnitude of earthquake that we need. Want to see it? Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
The 6.0, the awesome scale!
Ain't that the truth? With a perfect test run, the earthquake shake table just needs something to shake. First, they're building an unreinforced cinder block house, a style that was common when the myth originated.
Between the lines.
These older style homes aren't built to modern codes. To test the myth properly, this building needs furnishings and some tenants.
I'm placing 3 mannequins around the room, 1 underneath the table, 1 just standing in the room, and 1 standing in the doorway. Now, for this myth to be confirmed, the one in the doorway is gonna fare the best in the quake.
Grant's money is also on the doorway guy, and for good reason.
Now, these corners are one of the strongest parts of the building. There's rebar going all the way up to the ceiling with poured concrete. Same thing for the door, all the way around the arch. That's all solid. So by the end of this, my personal opinion is that the only thing left standing is gonna be this wall with the front door.
Now it's time to shake, baby, shake.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, wow. The chandelier is going crazy. Wow. That is a lot of power.
It's equivalent to the most energetic quake in U.S. history. The building moves up, down, left, and right, but not for long.
Above the window! Above the window! Move it out! Oh, crap! Oh, look at that! That is terrifying.
It's quake carnage everywhere. Except, incredibly, around the doorway.
Well, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, the only wall still standing is the one with the door, and the only mannequin that didn't sustain any injury is the one standing in the doorway.
Yeah, he looks all right. I think we can call this one plausible for this kind of construction.
Yeah, it's totally plausible.
But with a timber frame house built to modern building codes, we might see a very different result. Because official advice today is to drop, cover, and hold. And that means the guy under the table is no dummy.
3, 2, 1.
It's an 8.0 magnitude quake.
Look at the chandelier! The chandelier is swinging around the room!
And it's not long before the bookshelf takes out mannequin number 1.
Oh my God, everything is falling over!
While the insides may be imploding, the guy under the table is injury-free. Time to crank it up. The earthquake hits a 9.5, making it the strongest quake ever recorded. But the house still stands, which is more than can be said for the doorman. He's hit the deck and is out for the count. The guy under the table is the clear winner. That means for modern buildings built to withstand an extreme earthquake, this myth is busted. Finally, a windy myth about high-speed straw. In the workshop, Jamie and Adam are whipping up a storm to test the myth that straw can slice clean through a palm tree in hurricane-force winds. But what do you do if you don't have a hurricane handy? The plan is to get an air compressor, attach it to a metal tank with a release valve, attach that to a very long pipe that will act as the barrel. And at the end of the barrel, place a tall swaying palm. It's an air cannon of mythical proportions.
Hey, that's enough.
One more.
No, come on. This is we got 60 feet here.
We're gonna go for the max sooner or later. Might as well do it now.
Okay.
With an 80-foot barrel, they're hoping to fire out straw at more than 300 miles per hour.
I'm a little nervous to say this right now, but I think we might exceed Mach 1 on this. Stop. That looks just about right.
That is pretty darn good.
With all the kinks ironed out, all that's left to do is pick up the target. Adam takes the truck to Neon Palm Nursery.
Hi. Hi, Dale.
Yes, sir.
Adam Savage, nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
There's a myth going around that in a strong enough wind, a piece of straw can be driven right through the trunk of a palm tree. Have you ever heard this?
I believe it's true.
Really?
Oh, yes. It's a different kind of trunk than most trees. They have what's called vascular bundles of fibers, and they're sort of, if you can imagine, like a braided cable.
So you're saying it's actually a property of the palm trunk that perhaps makes it more permeable than we think of a normal tree trunk?
This is correct. Okay, ready for takeoff.
But it's going to have to be some serious straw to pierce this monster. The palm is a Robusta, 3,000 pounds.
Look at that. Jamie's reaction. Oh, God, I hope I get this right, because then you can cut him right back to back. He's going to go.
What did you do?
It may have seemed like a good idea at the store, but back home, the rush of Adam's major purchase is fading. The palm has to go at the end of the barrel of the straw shooter, all the way at the back of the workshop. And it's so bottom heavy, it's hard to balance.
Now, what do you want to...
You're not hurt, are you?
No, I'm not hurt.
Okay.
Getting the palm in place is a painful experience, but eventually, touchdown.
There you go.
My guess is that's going to be perfect.
Then Adam preps their projectiles.
We've got straw and hay and rigid plant material. We're going to bundle these up, fire a bunch at the same time. That'll help them each provide each other with some stability in the tube. It will also give us multiple chances to hit our target.
A high-speed camera is set up to capture the action and a chronometer to record the speed. It all is ready to go.
We are set to fire.
Or maybe not. Jamie has some bad news.
What is up?
Well, we have a bit of a sticky wicket here.
All right.
We're being told to pull these palms, and we don't want to use them.
According to the higher-ups, the palm Adam chose isn't a species that grows in tropical storm territory. So they don't want to use it, because it wouldn't be a true test of the myth. So it's goodbye, big boy, and hello, California queen palm, the closest available analogy to a tropical coconut palm.
Ready to go.
Pressurizing. 80, go ahead.
Firing straw in 3, 2, 1. I love this job.
The straw shoots down the barrel and slams into the trunk. But did it break on through to the other side?
That one looks really serious. Dude.
That's a good 1/4 inch.
That's actually, I'd say that's 3/8.
Adam, you're splitting straws. The bottom line is the straw didn't make it out. But it did manage to pierce the hard outer shell of the trunk and embed itself a solid way in.
That would be a result.
That's a result.
But was it going fast enough?
Yeah, pretty much this looks like we're traveling at right in that butter zone of 318, 320 miles per hour. This shot's just beautiful.
That means even the highest wind speed ever recorded isn't enough to make the straw slice clean through the trunk. But this myth isn't blown away yet. The straw is swapped out for a different plant material, thatched reed.
Your average person picking up a piece of this on the street and go, oh, look, I found some straw. However, it is a little more rigid and may actually provide a lot more penetrating power than the straw does.
80, go ahead.
All right, firing thatched reed in 3, 2, 1.
Ouch! The reed pierces the trunk like tiny spears.
That right there is pretty serious.
The more rigid reed dug in 2 inches deeper than the straw. but still didn't make it through.
So I'm thinking one of the reasons we got this thin trunked tree is to put a ratchet strap on it and pull it like a big old bow.
To replicate the stress a palm would be under in a tropical storm, they brace and strap their tree and bend it back as much as they can without snapping the trunk.
We're gonna give the straw the best possible chance that we can to do something to this tree. So if it doesn't go through under these absolute maxed out conditions, the myth is totally busted.
The straw is loaded.
Okay, you're ready.
Firing a bent palm in 3, 2, 1.
So what's waiting at the other end?
We only got about a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, there's about a 1/4 inch.
Even in optimal storm conditions, it was nowhere close to coming out the other side.
The point is that bending the trunk and shooting it at the stressed point where the fibers would presumably be open, according to that theory that we found, does not have any appreciable effect on the penetration that we're getting. So I'd say we can put this one to bed.
Even thatched reed made no difference. So the straw through a palm tree myth is busted.